Some houses don't die. They wait. It stood at the edge of Pine Hollow, abandoned for nearly 50 years. Locals said the lights still flickered at night, even though there was no electricity. Some swore they heard laughter echoing from the attic. Others said if you walked too close, you'd hear your own name being whispered through the cracks. But curiosity is a dangerous thing. And one night, someone decided to go inside. It was supposed to be just another Halloween dare, something to make their YouTube channel go viral. 4 friends, 1 camera, and a house that everyone in town feared to enter. They weren't believers. They were thrill seekers. But the house had been waiting. The van rolled down a dirt road as the last bit of daylight faded behind the trees. Inside were Liam, the group's ringleader, Sarah, his girlfriend, and the skeptic, Ethan, the cameraman, and Maya, the quiet one who had a bad feeling from the start. "There it is," Ethan whispered, pointing the camera toward a massive silhouette up ahead. The house loomed against the purple sky, 2 stories, rotting shutters, and a single window light glowing faintly, even though the town's power grid hadn't reached this far in years. "That's impossible," Sarah said. "There's no power out here." "Probably a reflection. Or maybe the ghost paid his electric bill." He laughed. Nobody else did. The closer they got, the quieter it became. Even the crickets stopped chirping. The moment the car stopped, the air felt heavier, like the ground itself didn't want them there. The front gate hung from one hinge. It screeched when Liam pushed it open, a sound that cut through the silence like a knife. "All right," Liam said, turning to the camera. "This is it, the infamous Hollow House. People say everyone who's entered here either disappeared or went insane. But tonight, we find out the truth." Sarah rolled her eyes. "Or we get arrested for trespassing." "Even better views," Ethan grinned, holding up the camera. Maya stood behind them, hugging her arms. "You feel that?" she murmured. "It's colder here." She was right. The temperature had dropped nearly 10 degrees between the car and the porch. Liam placed his hand on the old brass doorknob. "You guys ready?" "As ready as we'll ever be," Ethan said, switching to night vision. The door groaned open. Dust spiraled in the air like smoke. The beam from the flashlight revealed torn wallpaper, shattered glass, and what looked like old handprints smeared along the walls, too high for a child, too small for an adult. "Whoa," Sarah said, whispering. "This place is straight out of a nightmare." They stepped inside. The floor creaked under every step. Furniture was still there, covered in dusty white sheets. A chandelier dangled from the ceiling, swaying slightly even though there was no breeze. "This is insane," Ethan said. "It's like time just stopped." Maya turned slowly, scanning the walls. "Something's wrong. Can you hear that?" Everyone went silent. For a few seconds there was nothing. Then a faint sound, like whispering. Not words, just noise. Liam laughed nervously. "Probably the wind." "There's no wind," Maya replied. Ethan pointed the camera toward a doorway at the end of the hall. "The sound's coming from there." The door was slightly open, just enough to show a flicker of light inside. "Okay," Liam said, grinning. "Ladies and gentlemen, the adventure begins." They pushed open the door. Inside was what looked like an old parlor. A piano sat in one corner, its keys yellowed and cracked. Cobwebs hung from the ceiling like curtains. In the center of the room was a grand mirror, standing taller than any of them. Ethan panned the camera across the room until it landed on the piano. "Guys," he whispered, "was that key already pressed?" One of the keys was slightly lowered, like someone had just touched it. Sarah frowned. "You probably bumped into it. I didn't touch it, I swear." Liam smirked. "Maybe the house is saying hi." Ting! Another piano key pressed down on its own. Tink, tink, tink. Each note echoed through the room, slow and deliberate, forming half of a melody that none of them recognized. Maya backed away, whispering, "It's playing something, backwards." Then silence. The mirror across the room began to fog up, like someone was breathing on the other side. Liam stepped closer, raising his flashlight. "Hello?" The fog on the mirror slowly formed letters. "Get out." The word lingered for 3 seconds before vanishing. Everyone froze. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Sarah finally whispered, "Tell me that's part of your script, Liam." I didn't do that," he stammered. Panic set in. "Okay, this is enough," Maya said, clutching her jacket. "Let's go." But the moment they turned to leave, the door they came through slammed shut. Bang! The camera jerked. Ethan swung it toward the door. It was sealed. No lock, no handle movement. It simply refused to open. "What the hell?" Liam shouted, pulling with all his strength. "It won't move." Sarah's voice trembled. "Are you kidding me, right?" Then came the whisper again, louder this time, circling the room. It wasn't coming from one place, it was everywhere. Ethan's camera picked up faint shapes in the corners, shadows moving just out of focus. "We need to find another way out," Maya said, shaking.